In this video, I want to put the plywood subfloor on the second floor. I did that for a video on the first floor, but I believe that I didn't actually record the screen. So now I'm double checking that before I upload the video, so we shouldn't have that problem again. You won't have to listen to my voice and just see a picture of me. Hopefully. So anyway, looking at this in 3D, if you take a look here, you can see that my section box is cutting at the floor of the second floor. So that's why we can only see the second floor, which is basically how I want it to be. I only want to see the second floor, but I want to have the plywood in there. So that's what I'm going to do now. And also, if I look over here, I can see that there's something weird happening here. So I'll click on this wall and highlight it, and then go over to this 3D view just to see, well, what the heck is going on here with that wall? So this wall should only go up to the top of the first floor, not the top of the second floor. So I'm going to change the constraints of that and say back to the top of the first floor wall. And look at what that did. Wow. All right, let's click on it again. That constraint, top of the first floor wall. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to undo that because that made some weird things happen over there too. And let's take this section box and just drag it up. And I think this will do it. Let's see what happens. Yep. All right, so this looks, oh, look at that. So this particular, okay, I see what I did now. So let's open this up a little bit more here, the crop region. And what I did was, let's spin it around. So what I had done was I said, well, geez, this is a one-story wall, and this is a one-story wall. So I'm going to make this a one-story wall. I'm going to make this a one-story because it was 2 stories. I was going to make it a one-story wall by just matching this properties. But look what happens. This wall actually has an offset way back there. So when I said match properties, and that put a wall way back there too. And all I want is a one-story brick wall, which this might be what I'm looking for. Look at that. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to say match properties. I'm going to click on this wall. If I got it or not. So let's spin it around and we'll start over again. I'm going to say match properties. I'm going to try to select this wall right here. Okay, I still don't know if I got it. I'll try it one more time. Match properties. It sure looks like I got it that time. And then I'm going to click on this wall. There we go. All right. And I'm back to where I had my issue again before, which I've got concrete on the inside here. So if we go to the first floor plan and look over here, for some reason, that wall has concrete in it. So it's not the correct construction. And so does this wall. That's not the correct assembly of wall types there. So, all right, so let's address it. So the first thing we have to do is grab this and let's go through it, take a look at it, go to view. So you can see that the concrete, that should be a stud wall, but it's not, it's got concrete in there. So let's take a look at what we have there. Edit the type. And all I have is a brickledge and a basement wall. So I need to add a first floor wall. So I'm going to go insert. And this is not going to be a brickledge anymore. That's going to be, I think it's brick stud. Look at that. Yes, it is. Okay. So the basement, I like to make the variable. The brickledge, I think that's 1 foot. I don't know what that is. All right, and the brick stud will just, I will just make that, that really has two other types of walls on top of it too. So let's just make that 6 feet for now. And we'll make that 2 feet. And I'll have to go look at another one. Cancel anyway. And cancel anyway, because I made a very big mistake here. And what I did was, this wall might actually be used somewhere. So if I change it now, then it's going to change it everywhere, and I don't want to do that. So the first thing I want to do is just copy this wall from here to here. This is the one I'm going to change, rename and change it, not just this one here. Because let's see now. All right, so remember I had some questions. So let's take a look. Let's see. All right, so nothing is good here in terms of looking at it and comparing it exactly, but let's take a look at this wall first of all. So we're going to edit the type and we'll look at this. And so I have my brick stud and my brick stud 3. So I'm going to take a moment and actually write that down. So I have brick stud 4 and brick stud 3. I'm going to put those on the top, 7.5 and 7. It's different than my second floor wall is, but anyway, okay. And then I have my brick stud, which is, in this case, it's the variable, which I don't. Oh, that's okay, because that's the big garage wall. Right, so brick ledge. Oh, the brick ledge is only 10.5. Oh yeah, that's the garage wall. Okay. So I'm going to say okay to this. I didn't change anything. I'm going to say okay to that. But this is the wall I want to change. So let's edit this type and we're going to duplicate it. And we're going to put 2 more walls in there. We're going to put brick stud 4. Then we're going to put brick stud 3. And my notes say 7.5 inches and 7 inches. I'm going to change the basement wall to be the variable. All right, and I'm going to say okay to that. And now let's take a look at it and see. All right, I've got my brick ledge is way too tall, I think. Yeah, it took the wall out because of the height. Okay, so let's put the bottom of the basement wall, 0 inches, and the top of the first floor wall. Okay, that's where I want it to be. And now let's go back and edit that type again. That needs to be lined up. That needs to be lined up. But we still need. Okay, the brick ledge was 10. I don't know. Let's just make it 1 foot for now. Okay, so that's going to stretch the basement wall to make it work on that. So let's look at this wall. I just want to see what the height of the brick ledge is. Brick ledge is 10.5 inches. And then my bond is 1.5. 1 foot, 1.5. Okay, so let's cancel out of that. And we have to put in a bond here too. Edit, oh boy. I'll change this guy because I didn't rename it. So I'm doing a really poor job here. I want to leave this one alone. I want to rename this one, edit the type, and duplicate it. So we'll just call it number. It's not basement. Basement wall, first floor. All right. Space. Okay. All right. So now. Now, if this wall exists anyplace else, I've messed it up because this wall changed a little bit. All right, it was basement wall only. Let's spin around here and see. Yeah, look what I did all the way around there. That's a lot of mistakes. So, okay. Okay, so I want to leave that basement wall only alone. This is not a basement wall only wall. Okay, so what I did was I tried to change this wall without renaming it. I copied this over, so this was still basement wall only. And then I went and I tried to change it. So when I changed it, I was changing every wall that was called basement wall only. So now I will edit the type, duplicate it, basement wall, first floor wall. Get rid of the two. So now it has its new name. Okay. And if you look at this one, basement wall only, that's what I want. I don't want to change these walls. And then this wall is basement wall, first floor wall only. And now I can start to modify it, which is what I should have done in the first place. But as I said in the previous video, I like to show my mistakes as well as the correct way to do things. And the reason I show the mistakes is because people watching the video might say, oh, wow, I've made that mistake before, or it'll prevent them from making that same mistake again. So mistakes, I think, are very valuable in the learning process, especially if you can watch someone else make the mistake and not make it yourself. So we are going to insert two more to begin with. This one, we're going to make it the brick stud 4. Good reason that I wrote these down so I don't have to use my memory. And this was brick stud 3. All right, we made this 7.5 inches. And we made this 7 inches. And I want the basement wall to be the variable. So I'm highlighting the basement wall and then clicking variable. Now the brick ledge, what did we say that brick ledge was 10.5 inches, I think. We have to put a bond in there. So let's insert the bond. Let's look at that. That looks good. The bond, I think we said was 1 foot, 1.5 inches, but I'm not sure. Let's fix that. And then we still have a wall that has to go in there. So I'm going to insert and change that to just, I think that's called brick stud. Yep. Okay. So everything looks pretty good here. The brick stud, I think, is 8 foot, 10 inches, I think. Okay. And then, and it's starting to look good. This lines up the wood blocking with this one has to come back. So let's pull that one back. Let's pull it back 4 inches. minus 4 inches. And I'm guessing here, I don't know. Look at that. I'll buy some lottery tickets because I guessed correctly. All right, that looks good. I'm going to say okay to that and okay to that. And before I change, I'm going to do the match properties so that I can change those two walls right there. I want to go back to the first floor plan, and I'm section cuts through there. So I want to just take a look at that section just to make sure I'm okay. So I have my levels over here. Let's just drag, oops, can't drag the wall over there and see it, but I can now. So I'm just going to line it up with the levels to see if we're okay. So my brickledge goes, oh, it doesn't quite go there. All right, let's measure that and see how much. I have to add something, and I think I have to add it to the first floor wall. All right, so that's going to push everything down to accommodate that 8'10" and 1/8 of an inch. Why it's I have that, but I might have to fix that later. So I've added another 1/8 of an inch to the height of this wall. Let's see if that pushed this down. See, that pushed the brickledge down. The bond area is correct. The heights of these are not. Okay, so what's this right here? It's a stacked wall, that's not a level. Top of the first floor windows. All right, the red one is the, so I have things in the background. I'll go back to my first floor plan. I'm going to click on this, and I don't want have all that stuff in the background that's confusing what I'm looking at. So I'm going to change my depth of field to just be that little bit right there. Now my section won't have all those things in the background, which messes me up from my picking these things, but that's the top of the wall. Top of the wall is correct. This is the bottom of the first floor fascia, and this should line up there. So let's measure that. And from here to there, 6 and copy it, Control C. Now I'm going to modify this wall. And this wall, I'm going to edit the type and open the structure up, and I'm going to change this dimension here, the height of it, to whatever that said it had to be. Now that made that go from here to here. And now this is wrong, so we'll measure it. This should go from here. That should be 7 1/4. So I'm highlighting it, Control C, I'm copying it to the clipboard. And I'm going to click on this wall, edit the type. And this one, I'm going to Control V, and put that in there. Now everything hits where it's supposed to, I believe. Let's see. There's the top of the wall. That's what I'm interested in. What 8'10" and 1/2. 8'10" 5/8 is what the top of the wall should be. Yeah, and then we go 5/8 of an inch down. So I'll have a 10-foot. Yeah, I'll have a 10-foot 5/8. Okay, so that wall is good. Good. Okay, now let's go back to the 3D view. And I move that wall over. Let's do the match properties. So I'm going to say match properties. This one is correct, and I'm going to match this one. That should get rid of my, except that this looks a little strange. I think we're all right, and I want to do the same thing on this wall right here too. So let's click on that. Okay, that looks good too. What a weird connection here. This wall, this wall should probably be made of the same top pieces here as this wall is. So might as well do it. So I'm going to take a look at this wall again, first of all, because I think that's good. Let's go back to the first floor. That was just, we can delete that. This guy wants to be cleaned up. I don't know if it will. Nope. It should get cleaned up here. Let's see if we can. I'm not gonna be too concerned about it right now because again, the client might change things and then I've gone to all that trouble for nothing, but we can clean it up later. This we can clean up now. These walls should. All right, I don't know what's going on there, so I'm not going to clean that up. But what I'm doing here is I wanted to take a look at this wall. We changed that. So I'm going to change my heights here. So stud wall, brick stud 4 is 6 7/8. And brick stud 3 is 7 1/4. And 8 foot 10 1/8 is the brick stud. So I just wrote those down in my notes. I'm going to say, okay, and not make any changes, but I am going to change this guy. And this is, there's only one place that wall occurs because that's that big overhang on it. So I don't have to duplicate it. You can see it has this big overhang, but I do want to change this. So my brick stud, I'm going to make the basement wall the variable. And my brick stud wall, we said was 8 foot 10 1/8. So we'll change that. Okay, and I want to put some more on top of there. Oops, what happened with the 2? Insert and insert. This we're going to call brick stud 3. And we said that height was going to be 7.5, 7.5 and inches. And this one, we're going to make brick stud 4 and make that 6 7/8. Okay, because I wanted. Okay, and we said that was -4 inches at the one that's highlighted right now, brick stud 4 is -4 inches. Lines up, we'll say okay. And okay, we deal with the room names again now. But let's see, let's take this section and just move it over. And well, let's go to it and see what we have here. Okay, so now I have this wall in there. What's this? Top of fascia. Okay, that looks good. I'll try to have my blocky in there. Yeah, I like it. So we can go look at it in 3D now. And I just want the top of that wall to be the same. Right, that looks good. That's how it should look. Okay, so this tutorial was about putting in the plywood on the second floor, so it's time to do that. have way too many tabs open here. So I come up to my quick access toolbar and I'm going to close all the inactive views. So now all I have is my 3D view here. Might as well leave it open because I'll be looking at it in a moment. And I'm going to go to my second floor plan. And I want to put in my plywood on my second floor. And I also remember that this railing continues from here, which is the first floor. So let's fix that too. Edit the path. I'm going to delete this and this. Okay, because I thought this was the top, but this is actually the top. So now we can put the top in across like, let's see what happens. I'm not chaining, so I'm not getting a continuation here. So I chained it now, okay. Quit sketching. What's wrong? Oh, it's getting confused here maybe? All right. It's still confused, so I'm going to delete, delete, and delete. And we'll go back and look at that in 3D. And all I did, what I wanted to do, actually, I want to continue from here across. That's the railing I want to continue. So edit the path of the railing. Okay, I want this guy to come across. Let's see if that'll work. Got into the putting in the plywood, which is what we wanted to do to begin with here. And now let's go look at that in 3D. So that's what I wanted. See if that makes sense. Yeah. So when you come up the stairs, you have the railing across there like that. That's what I wanted. So I edited the path. So the railing continues flat straight across like that. That'll make more sense when we put the floor in. So let's do that. I don't need, what am I on here? First floor dimension, second floor dimension. Let's do another one. Duplicate it. We'll call it second floor arc. Okay. And now I don't need those. That is rooms. Let's see if we can turn that off with visibility graphics. Yep. Because I don't want to see the rooms, and I'm not going to want to see the rooms ever in this particular view, my architectural view, so I'm not going to bother with it. I might want to change this railing a little bit to line up with this one. So seeing it, let's edit the path. And let's do that. This guy should probably go back a little bit too. I'm going to move him back just by eyesight. Now. All right. Okay, didn't completely do what I wanted. So we're going to take this guy and align him with the outside. Let's see what happens. Oh, looks better. Much better. Back to the 3D view. Yeah. Okay, so we come up the stairs. I could actually, well, if I just made the landing right here, it'd be a structural issue. I've got places to carry that landing upstairs. All right, so okay, we're on the second floor. arc is where we want to work on now. I don't need to work on this one. And I'll put the floor in now. It's the plywood subfloor. It goes to the exterior plywood sheathing, the inside face of that, which is right here. Okay. And it's only going to occur where we have a second cone. So let's do that. Architecture, floor, 3/4 inch plywood. I don't want it to have any height. I want it to be right at the second floor. I'm quite certain. I can always change that. All right, so see if I can start out on the right. No, I didn't. It didn't start out right. Line, I want to align to here. Not letting me. So let's see if I can just nudge it down for now. Pretty close. It's still not exact, but right now it's pretty good. I probably wouldn't change that. It is so close, but it's all right. But if, and the reason that I would not be concerned about it right now is because change this anyway. Right. This is not necessarily the final layout. And so if that's true, that it's not the final layout, then why go to the trouble of changing? Paying attention. So let's delete this. And I think I have a line there, not sure. Okay. Yeah, should go to here. Let's clean that up eventually. Back to there. So what I'm drawing is the outside perimeter. And as I said in a previous video, but I think you didn't, I didn't allow you to see the actual screen for some reason. I didn't properly set up the video. So all you can do is hear me talking. So probably no one, or very few people, if anybody, is going to actually take the time to listen when you can't see the actual demonstration on there. So I'll repeat what I said was that if the client or the contractor, in this case, it's the same person, but generally I'm designing a house for a client, and then the contractor is a different person. They get the work after it's completed. Sometimes they're involved from the beginning, which I think is a good thing. But anyway, so let's assume that the contractor, who is generally not the client, said, well, how many square feet of plywood do I need to purchase for the second floor, for example? Well, I could tell them. And tab, not sure why this align. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So what was my error there? I was picking right here, which is really the end of this wall. It's not the edge that I wanted to select. So I think that's why I was getting that chime. I thought we set the chime up so that it wouldn't make that noise. There's that chime again. So let's just move it and see if I can move it from here to there. Yeah, okay, so that looks good. Let's hit this and see what happens. I got an error message, so I'm going to continue. So Revit's telling me somewhere Uh-huh. One of the places that I have an error is right here because I don't want plywood there. So I was gabbing away instead of paying attention to what I wanted to do. But yes, it's got to go to the outside. I don't know where that is in this particular wall, but I'm going to assume that it's right here. Now let's see if we can do the align. So yeah, I gotta put the plywood floor. Let's bring it all the way down to here. This is not exactly right, but for this pretty close. I'll fine tune it later. Remember, I only want plywood where there is actually supposed to be, which is here. Okay, so this is open to below, so there's not going to be any plywood there. Let's see if we can do this trim extend and clean this guy up. Okay. So that makes more sense. I've got an error. Let's see if I can see it from here. It should highlight it. Here we go. There's my error, so I'll continue. Something is wrong here. Yep, let's clean that up. And something else is wrong. All right, then I'll just follow it around. I couldn't see any highlighted place where Revit was telling me that there was a problem. So I'm just going to follow my lines around and see if I can see a problem. Oh, that's cool. Here we go. Look at that right there. Good. Saved it this time. So I never ever want the walls to go up. I find that that causes more problems than solutions. All right, let's take a look at that in 3D, which is what we wanted to see to begin with here. And there's my second floor plywood. This is on the first floor. Here's the second floor plywood. So the plywood that you're seeing here is the first floor. Yeah, that looks good.